Welcome, it's Zurika from Living an Amazing Life. Today we shall break down the ethical hacks from the book Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. The concepts in the book are profoundly simple and can be easily actioned. Mike says profit is not an event, it's a habit. Now Mike is an entrepreneur and has sold $2 million businesses. He currently runs his third $1 million venture. In a TED Talk, Mike was very clear that there is a formula for everything. There is a formula for profit, a formula for wealth, a formula for everything until someday that specific formula may not work if the playing field changes. Now, most of us in business are brought up with a financial formula called GAAP, which stands for Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. GAAP provides a uniform set of rules to facilitate analysis. There are instances in which GAAP fails to accurately portray the operations of a business. What's the GAAP formula? It looks like this. Sales minus expenses equals profit. Every month, the focus in businesses has been on sales, then to keep our operational costs low so we can make profit. In this mindset, the profit is a leftover concept that happens by growing sales and paying our bills first. Each time when we look at our bank account, we check to see the amount of money we receive each month, then what bills we need to pay, and at last, whatever remains is the profit for the business. Unfortunately, for many self-employed solo entrepreneurs or even larger businesses, after the bills are paid, there may be very minimal profits that remain. Now, before we can dive into the hacks covered in the book Profit First, if you're new to this podcast, then every episode on Living an Amazing Life aims at breaking down ethical hacks used by world-class billionaires, entrepreneurs, scientists, doctors, Olympic athletes to reach their highest performance. We cover this as practical micro lessons distilled in 20 to 30 minutes that you can embrace and implement in your own life to be a high performer. The hacks in the book Profit First are the following. We have 5 hacks. Hack 1, the power of small plates. Hack 2, serving sequentially. Hack 3, removing temptation. Hack 4, following a rhythm. And hack 5 is optimizing, destroying debt and optimizing your business. So let's cover hack 1, which is the power of small plates. We need a new formula called the Profit First formula, according to Mike. Mike compares this to a journey of a dietary science principle. In his TED Talk, he explained the concept of small plates versus big plates. If you compare it to the fitness world, if you eat with smaller plates, you will automatically eat less rather than overeating. The bigger the plate, the more we eat. That's the same with our business. If we break down our business financials into smaller accounts, we will spend less and in turn save more. With Profit First, Mike suggests you flip the formula where the focus is on sales minus profit equals expenses. Now, each month, we take a predetermined percentage of profit from each sale. And then, and only then, we take the leftovers that are available for expenses. On day 1, this would be overwhelming, especially if until now we have operated on the GAAP model, which is sales minus expenses equals profit. But for a moment, let's just assume that we are going to achieve this new way where we are prepared to implement sales minus profit equals expenses. Here are the steps to implement hack 1, the power of small plates. First, we need to follow a plan. So your step 1 in the process is to buy smaller plates. So in this, it means we look at our bank accounts and we set up different accounts in 2 different banks. Have at least 5 small plates. These are 5 different bank accounts. These bank accounts needs to be set up with 2 separate banks. Let's first look at what accounts need to be set up. So bank account 1 is your income, which is a checking account. Bank account 2 is owner's pay, which is again a checking account. Bank account 3 is operating expenses, again a checking account. Now in a separate bank, we need to set up 2 additional accounts. Bank account 4, which is taxes, and it can be a savings account. And bank account 5, where your profits go, which is again a savings account. Now, the reason we open a separate bank account in separate banks for profit and taxes accounts is so that we don't see these accounts regularly, and they are not easily accessible from the same main account. Now, once you have set up the structure, then we can go to the next hack. Hack 2, serving sequentially. In the health world, to start a healthy lifestyle, experts recommend to eat your vegetables first. This provides your body with the nourishment it requires without filling your stomach with a plate of empty carbs. So if we apply the same principle to running a profitable business, it's important that we get the right nutrients first. Here the nutrition is your profit, not your empty carbs, which would be focusing on your expenses first. In the profit first method, you take a predetermined percentage of each sale as a profit first before actioning your bills. This reinforces the need to operate your business more efficiently. If your business is generating between, say, $1 to $250,000 each year, then here are the recommendations right from the book. You can split your revenue such that profit is 5%, your owner's pay is 50%, taxes is 15%, operating expenses 30%. Now in New Zealand, we have something called GST. I'm not sure what the tax may be for your country, but I imagine you too would have some kind of service tax. Here is how we have decided to set up our accounts so that it helps you understand what is happening in the business. We have modified the bank accounts a bit differently, but it achieves the same core principles of profit first. Now, we are a service-based business, so the way we allocate funds is going to be a bit different if you are into retail or manufacturing or e-commerce. I do suggest reading the complete book so you could make a plan based on your type of business. Here is the structure that we've implemented. We have banks with 3 separate banks. So Bank 1, which is our main business bank, has the monthly income that the business receives. Bank 2 is for our personal banking to receive our wages. And Bank 3 is where we place our taxes, our retirement savings amount, and the profit of the business. So here's the breakdown of how we have set up our accounts in these individual banks. So for Bank 1, the account is income for all the incoming funds. We have an account 2 called GST. Here we place the service tax of 15%. Usually businesses would keep aside around 10% as they can claim back on some of the expenses. But we prefer keeping the complete 15%. Now, once you've put your tax aside, you are operating with the real revenue amount. The account 3, which is OPEX, we've put 44%. This is our operating expenses. Now, in the second bank, which we bank with, we have an account called owner's pay, and we put about 30%. This is our wages after tax. In the third bank, we have the account superannuation, or a retirement fund of 6%. And here we place our retirement fund amount. And if you have employees, then you'd put their retirement plan amount as well. You'd have an account called tax. Here we put 15%, and this covers for our personal withholding tax, and if you have employees, end of year tax liabilities. And account 7 is the profit account, which is about 5%. Now the hack 3, which is removing temptations. It's helpful if you set up the tax and the profit accounts at a bank other than the one that you use for day-to-day operations. These have to be a savings account, and these are accounts that hold the funds allocated to them. You can deposit the funds and forget about it. Having these accounts hidden or where you don't visit it often will help your business become more profitable. Because it's human nature to get into a comfort zone, to cut back on junk food. If it was in the health world, any health consultant would recommend to remove them from the house and stock up on healthy food. Likewise, once you've taken your profit, keep it out of sight so that you won't be tempted to use it again for your business. Hack 4. Follow a rhythm. Eat small regular meals when it comes to a healthy diet plan. Or if you follow intermittent fasting, then it's a period of time in a day that you have a window to eat. Similarly, don't wait for your monthly or annual statements to assess your cash position. Take a few seconds daily, or if you prefer, maybe fortnightly, to log in and check your bank balance. Do your income allocations and pay your bills twice a month. So here's what's recommended daily. Step 1, all income from sales goes into the income account. Step 2, immediately remove the GST component and allocate this to its respective account. Every fortnight, or the 10th day and the 25th day of the month, transfer all funds that have accumulated in the income account to the other accounts that we've set up earlier, such as the operating expenses, your tax account, your owner's pay account, etc. This is based upon the allocation percentages you've agreed on for your own business. Pay your bills from the operating expense account. Now, every quarter, take 50% of the money that has been accumulated in the profit account as profit distribution. Remember, this money is for you as the business owner and not to be used to invest back into the business. Pay your tax liabilities from your tax account. Now, every year, you've got to stay accountable. Just like going to the gym and trying to lose weight, we all know what to do and how to do it. The question is, are you willing to train and build a body that you love? Similarly, are you willing to stay accountable to make sure that your business is profitable? Hack 5, Optimiser, destroying debt and to optimize your business. Once we have set up our accounts and have the system in place, the next step is to optimize our business plan. There are only 2 ways we can achieve this. Focus on increasing sales and review in detail how to cut unnecessary expenses. Increasing sales takes time and it won't happen overnight. But cutting expenses, on the other hand, is a quicker process and it's important to do this. The goal is to make your profit account to have at least 3 months of cash reserve for the months if all sales come to a halt and you have no control. Next, let's work on freezing debt. Stop any recurring payments and make sure you get rid of any services that you don't need. Look at all your expenditure over the past 12 months from all operating business bank accounts. Exclude labor costs, payments to subcontractors, and your salary. How much did you spend on other stuff? Analyze that expenditure and highlight which expenses are helping you to generate immediate revenue. Keep those. Then commit to stop spending money on items which did not generate revenue from this point on. Freeze your debt and start working towards eliminating debt altogether. To do that, you could start a debt snowball. Dave Ramsey speaks about this approach, and it's a great approach to start clearing debt one step at a time. List all debts from smallest to largest regardless of interest rates. Pay the minimum on all these debts except for your smallest one. Make the highest payment on the smallest debt. Once one of the debts is cleared, use the same principle and start paying off the second debt by adding the amount you were paying on the first debt. This approach of a debt snowball creates momentum. Just make sure you're not adding any new debt as you work towards paying all of your existing debt. Now, once you've cleared debt, then have a goal to make sure that for each full-time employee, your company should generate real revenue of $150,000 to $250,000. That should be your minimal goal. Have a goal each year at least to increase your owner's pay by 3%. So there you have it. Let's summarize the steps that we need to take action until now. I know it can be confusing, but just stay with me. Step 1. Operate on the principle sales minus profit equals expenses and not on the GAAP formula. Step 2. Create the concept of smaller plate servings rather than bigger plates. This can be achieved by setting up different bank accounts in 2 or more banks so you can automate and keep things structured. Step 3. The basic bank accounts that you need to set up are income account, owner's pay account, operating expenses account, taxes account, profit account. Step 4. Eat your veggies first instead of eating carbs. Similarly, first focus on a predetermined percentage of each sale as profit first before actioning your bills. Step 5. Remove temptation by having separate banks that handle separate accounts so that you can keep your taxes and profits out of sight so you don't get tempted to use it for your business. Step 6. Follow a rhythm. Do your income allocations and pay your bills twice a month. Step 7. Optimize your profits by increasing sales and put a plan in place to get rid of debt by cutting down expenses and implementing the debt snowball method. I know this can be confusing, so to make sure you have an action plan, I've created a checklist that you can refer to. You will find it at www.LivingAnAmazingLife.com. Now, if you've enjoyed today's episode, then would you be kind enough to leave a review on Apple Podcast or Google Podcast? It would help me. Also, please do share this piece of work with someone who can benefit from Profit First. If you find my work valuable, then do subscribe to our podcast either on iTunes or on Google Podcast. The podcast is called Living an Amazing Life. Just search for it as one word. We are also on YouTube, Again, the channel is called Living an Amazing Life. I hope you have enjoyed this episode and you create a profitable business where it's cash flow positive and you feel confident and fulfilled. Thank you, and I look forward to spending time with you in our next episode. See you soon. Ciao for now. Take care.